Passengers is a science fiction romance thriller, I suppose, directed by Morton Tildum. It stars Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence as a couple of people on board a spaceship traveling to another planet. On their 120-year journey, they accidentally wake up 30 years into it with a whole 90 left to go. So they're stuck with a few dilemmas, such as what the hell they're going to do with the rest of their lives, and not only that, the ship's kind of falling apart just a little bit, so they need to try and figure out a way to, well, basically keep the whole thing together. Now, this was kind of an interesting movie in as much as I really liked the look of the trailer. I thought it left a lot of intrigue and stuff. Then the reviews came out and, well, they were kind of mediocre to say the least. And from what I gathered, the general consensus was that nothing really much happened in this movie, so I went in with pretty low expectations. But that being said, I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It's not a great movie, it's no masterpiece, but it was definitely passable entertainment. Now, the problem is, in order for me to talk about one of the things I most liked about the movie, look, I don't think personally that it's really spoiler material, because it is something that I knew about going into the movie, but I understand that there's going to be some people who obviously don't want to know anything about the plot. So I'll talk about non-spoilery stuff, but then I'm going to get into something. It's concerning a moral decision that Chris Pratt's character has to make, which, if you're kind of onto what I'm talking about, you know, it's not that big a spoiler, but the warning will be there. So for starters, the movie looks great. I mean, the cinematography was great, the set design and everything was absolutely fantastic. I really loved the look of the ship, and just everything kind of gave it like a really futuristic look. It was really well designed. And I really dug that, you know, particularly in the first act of the story, they gave you a lot of information without blatantly explaining it to you. You know, things like, you can tell how long Chris Pratt has been aboard because, you know, his beard is just like growing and growing and growing, and, you know, little sort of visual hints like that I thought were quite well done. The performances were just fine. I mean, Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence are two great actors, and yeah, they were really good in this. I got behind their characters. When they were in the worst of the situation, yeah, I was behind them and, you know, hoping that they would find a way to get out of things. But most of all, it definitely had like a sense of wanting to know what happens next, particularly with this morally questionable decision that Chris Pratt's character makes that I was talking about, which I'm not going to spoil. That really leaves you wondering what this is going to lead to and what's going to happen with the characters, and yeah, I actually thought that was quite well done. As far as things that I didn't like, look, yeah, it wasn't, you know, edge of the seat thrilling. Like, it was just the story played out and you went along with it and it was fine. I definitely don't regret seeing it, but yeah, you know, it wasn't like the kind of thing that you're really, really invested in and you're just like screaming at the screen going, oh my god, get out of this situation and stuff. So yeah, it was good. Aside from that, there were a couple of things that happened which were just a bit too convenient. There's a character, well, played by Lawrence Fishburne, who also happens to just conveniently wake up at one point in order to give the characters a bunch of exposition that they need about what's going wrong with the ship, which I thought was very lazily done. And not only that, it just so happens that Chris Pratt's character is a mechanic, so of course he's going to be able to fix the ship, or will he? Who knows? You'll have to see the movie to find out. But yeah, you know, he's a mechanic. I mean, yeah, of course he is. I mean, you know, what good is having a McDonald's burger flipper or something like that? He's not going to be able to fix the ship. Alright, so those are the non-spoilery things about what I liked and didn't like about it. Now, I'm going to get into this thing which some people may take as a spoiler, so if you don't want to know anything about the plot, then probably stop watching now. But if you're still on board, okay, the one thing that I knew about the movie going into it, which, yeah, I don't think was that big a spoiler, was that the reason Jennifer Lawrence's character is awake is because Chris Pratt basically spends a year alone and is desperate for company, and, you know, he sees this girl and he's absolutely smitten with her, and yeah, he's sort of, I mean, at one point the guy's suicidal and he's just that desperate for company that he winds up waking her up. Now, I really liked that. I thought it was so intriguing because, let's face it, if you're alone for a year, on board this place with no one else around in the middle of space. Like, you know, you got to wonder if you'd do the same. And they really did a great job of having him wrestle with this decision. You know, it was very well done. One thing I won't spoil is what that leads to with the characters, because, yeah, things just get really interesting. I really dug the way that they handled that storyline. Unfortunately, by the third act, it was all kind of pushed aside for more of the action-oriented stuff. But I definitely love the character building that happened over the first two acts. So, look, overall, you know, like I said, I thought Passengers was suitable entertainment. I don't know if I'd straight away own it on Blu-ray. Maybe later on when it comes down in price, if it's in a sale bin or something like that, I might add it to the collection. And so that being said, I'm going to give Passengers a 7 out of 10. So guys, what did you think of Passengers if you've seen it? Drop me some comments and let me know. Let me know what you thought about the moral ambiguity of the decision that was made in the film, that kind of stuff. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Would you do the same thing? So drop me some comments either here or on Facebook. All my social media links are in the description below because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.